Everybody, it's Crafting Journey, and welcome to the morning podcast that I do every day, Monday through Saturday. Working on my mystery diamond painting. Look, we have a face. Oh my God, I'm so excited. She's beautiful. The eyes are here, the lips. Oh, I even gave some fleeting thought to blinging her eyes. I'm gonna go with this for now. I don't know if I have any of the right color of blues. And this is a square. Anyway, although I have sparklers for squares, so I'm thinking about it. Still thinking about it. So we're working in this area, doing her hair. I know I said I was gonna go down here, but I needed to see the face. Look how pretty. That's going to be amazing on my Alice wall. Thank you, Mickey Sunshine. Now, if you guys would like to participate in a mystery diamond painting, join the Crafting Journey Facebook group. The link is in the description. You only have to answer 2 questions. Make sure you answer the 2 questions or my moderators will not let you in. They're very strict. Yes. What else? Yeah, so once you get into the Crafting Journey Facebook group, there is pinned to the top a form for you to enter the mystery diamond painting. The cutoff for the entries is June 1st. On that date, I'll stop, no more forms, no more entries, and then I will match people up, and then you get to meet another person that, you didn't know before. You get to talk about what you like and don't like, and how much money you want to spend, and where you want to shop, and then you pick out a painting, and you have it sent directly to that person from any company. Just make sure if it's a company that has a plastic cover on it, that that person has someone else open it and cover it up for them. That's my spiel for today. Okay. Oh, one more thing. The spiel's not over. Wednesday, tomorrow night, 2 giveaways. The April giveaways are tomorrow night. The first one is a $50 Treasure Studios Arts gift card donated by Treasure Studios Arts. In celebration of the year of Alice, I plan to do a diamond painting giveaway once a quarter. This one covers the first quarter, since I'm not really doing collaborations this year. And the other giveaway is my monthly yarn giveaway. I'm giving away several skeins of yarn and a skinny flexi loom. And if you've never heard of a skinny flexi loom, I also have a video. I can put that here on how to use the skinny flexi loom and make yourself a gosh darn cool hat. Yep. That's the end of the spiel. All right, let's do some diamond painting. Oh, I slept good last night. I have to do that once every show. My little trumpet sound. Oh, come on. Stay on. Okay. What symbol do I want to use? I should have figured this out ahead of time, right? Yep. Rebecca, you should have. All right. Today is Tuesday, April 27th. Did y'all see the full moon last night? It was gorgeous. They called it a pink moon. I don't know why. Y'all probably know, and you'll let me know in the comments. I didn't see, it didn't look pink to me, but it was very full and very large. Really, really pretty sight. I like my shirt. A girl and her animals living life in peace. Isn't that cute? Don't look at my boobies. Just the picture. What is that? Oh, there's an elephant. Is that an elephant? Really? Yeah, a girl, an elephant, or just an ugly dog. It's an ugly dog. No, it's an elephant. And a dog here. Where's the cats? I think the kitty cat is on my nipple. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Today is National Storytelling Day, and boy, could I tell you some stories about the relatives. Um, so this is the day we celebrate the ancient art of storytelling. It's something that I do every single day. I tell y'all stories. Some are true, some are not. Now, this is the way that we pass along family traditions, reminisce, bring up old memories. I love when Malia comes over and we share stories. It's so much fun. So this is a good day to get together with the family and just maybe around dinner or something, just tell some stories. Like what happened in your day. Remember that, here's a story. I'm going to tell you a story. Um, growing up, when my kids were growing up, one of the requirements was that we all sat down for dinner. It might just be pizza. It might, could be something for a takeout. But we would sit at the dining room table and we would eat as a family and we would share our stories for the day. Or, as they became teenagers, not so much because I was going through a divorce and, things kind of fell apart at that point. No more dining room table. But, earlier on in their lives, we would sit at the dining room table and we would share our stories. And I think that's important in families, that you get together. If you don't do it every night, do it a couple of nights a week. Say, hey guys, Monday and Wednesday night is, family night. We're going to have dinner together and we're just going to sit and chit chat and not look at our cell phones and talk. And thank God when my kids were growing up, there were no cell phones, because the grandkids are glued to them. Like they are eating dinner, they're like shoveling the food in and got the phone in the other hand. And they're typing, it's quite the multitasking accomplishment. And then when I go over their house for a meal, like the last time I was there, Kyle, when he was done eating, he just gets up and walks away. I said, Kyle, come back and sit down. I'm here to visit. Let's talk. And he's like, oh, okay, Grandma. And he came back down. And got his phone out, of course. But we sat and talked. I asked him some questions. And I think kids today are not as communicative because they've got these phones. So, let's get them into storytelling, not just not Instagram, not Facebook, but, actually sit and tell me about what's happening in your life. Or, let's reminisce about something you did a couple of years ago, or, that kind of thing. So that's why I like having Malia over. We'll watch TV together, but we also eat and chat and tell stories to each other. So I like that. So take this opportunity. That's the national day. Do, 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 do. There's the trumpet again. Do, 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 do. Why do I make that silly noise? I don't know. I don't even know where that originated. Isn't that funny? So let's do Judge, Jury, and Journey. So we are covering the trial of Ashley McArthur for the killing of Taylor Wright. So day 3 was a day, the the lead investigator, still on the stand, and he's such a young guy. Oh my goodness. So it was mostly watching the videotapes of the police interviews of Ashley. And I gotta tell you, this lady she's either innocent or really one cool cucumber. Like, she has an answer for everything. And she's very personable, this terrific personality. yeah, so I like after watching these interviews, there was a lot of inconsistencies in her story that come out later, but she was selling it. I gotta tell you, especially the part where she tells the investigators that this guy Brandon, the owner of Sticks Billiards, is her friend. And then she sort of admits that he's more than a friend, but that she has an open marriage with her husband, that he knows and he doesn't care. And she was selling it. They were all laughing and giggling, and yeah. I don't buy that. I really don't buy that. That her husband was okay with that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So what we're finding out on day 3 is that she has this bank account. She's got her hands in everything. This woman, Ashley. She's got the family business, which is that the jukeboxes and the pool tables, that automatic entertainment business. She's also got a t-shirt business. They used to sell t-shirts. I don't know where or when, but so she and Taylor come up with this idea that Taylor would she would put Taylor on the bank account so she could put some of this money into, some of this money that she was hiding from her husband into Ashley's bank account. But she was also contributing to their business. Now, the business was, because Ashley's so busy with the other business, that Taylor was going to take the lead on this business and sell tactical gear and the t-shirts at these gun shows. Which I think is a great idea. So she said it was kind of like an umbrella for, these small businesses that they had. So one of the things she also says is that over the course of several months prior to Taylor's disappearance, she had been loaning money to Taylor. Now, it was never clear to me why she was loaning her this money, because Taylor had a job. She was a private investigator. She worked for a PI firm. She had all this money, but I'm guessing she was trying not to spend it. So, the investigators asked Ashley, well, how much money did you loan her? And she's like, well, $20,000. But, not all in one lump sum. It was over, it was, some here, some there. And both the investigators are like, wow, that's quite you're a good friend to loan her that money. And she said, well, she kept saying she needed the money, so I'd loan it to her. So her making these deposits into this bank account that Ashley put Taylor's name on she was okay. Ashley was all right to spend that money because she was getting paid back for this loan, all this money that she had loaned her. And through this investigator on the stand, they introduced the bank records. And the records reflect, several deposits, several withdrawals. But all of these deposits and withdrawals were made by Ashley, not Taylor. And Ashley said, yeah, but I did this all with the permission of Taylor. She would give me the checks, I would deposit them. Which, okay, that's interesting. And she kept mentioning during her interview, we'll go back to the interview, that there was this lady Ginger in Biloxi that Taylor kept going up to see. Now, no one other than Ashley has ever mentioned anybody named Ginger. And I think by the fact that we haven't seen any witnesses named Ginger leads me to believe that there is no Ginger. That this is somebody that Ashley has made up. I'm just looking to see what I've missed in my notes. Okay, so there's two investigators in this interview room, and it's interesting because the one guy that's asking the questions, he's the one really conducting the interview, and then there's this larger man that's kind of over in the corner. And he keeps inching his chair closer and closer as the questions get more and more, pointed. He kind of get to the point where, towards the end, he's at the table. Starts out in the corner, but then he ends up at the table. There is a point in time where the lead investigator says, we're asking all of these questions. We're conducting these interviews with everybody, but because we're doing this, I need to read you your Miranda rights. Are you familiar with those? And so he read the Miranda rights. She was not under arrest or anything, and she never even asked, am I under arrest? She just, like I said, cool as a cucumber. But her body language, you can see as this guy is inching closer to her, she's becoming more closed off. She's like, her legs are crossed. At one point, her arms are folded. Which I found very interesting. So finally he gets himself to the table and he's like, here's the cell phone records. Okay, I want to show you these cell phone records because this does not add up with what you are telling us. And what those cell phone records showed, and they showed her this, is that you were out at your family property in this other town. You were not at apparently there's two sets of family property. There's a farm in Milton that her aunt owns, and there's this other property where ultimately the body was found. So she had told the investigator she was at this farm in Milton. Well, he says, we know that you never went to this farm in Milton. She goes, yeah, I was in Milton that day. And he goes, yeah, we know. You went there for dinner with your husband. She's like, yeah, I did. And he goes, but you weren't there any other time. So what the cell phone records showed is that she leaves her home. She does go pick up Taylor. They go to her. She says they go to her business. They never went to her business. They go out to this farm maybe they did go to the business. They went to the business, then they go to the farm. So they're at this farm, family farm, from noon until about 2 o'clock. Both cell phones are there. And she's like, how do you explain that? What were you doing out there? Well, we were picking up a lockbox that belonged to Taylor. And he says, well, why didn't we've interviewed you several times. How come you never mentioned that you were there? Well, Taylor asked me not to tell anybody. That was her weirdest response of the entire day. Taylor asked me not to tell anybody. What? So the cell phone records show that they both leave the property. They come back at 2:45 to the property, and then they also show that they go back the next morning to this property. So they also show her that the next day there were several phone calls and text messages sent to Taylor's phone, but they were both in the same place, Ashley's house. So clearly Ashley had Taylor's phone. So both phones were in the same place all day and the next day after Taylor has disappeared. And then they did show some footage from that day where Ashley and Taylor stop at this Tom Thumb, which is a gas station, store type, 7-Eleven. They're called something different everywhere. So in that area of the country, they're called Tom Thumbs. So Taylor gets out and she goes in and she buys like a soda and a beer that she said that, and this is just before noon, so they're on their way out to this family farm. She said she didn't think it was unusual that Taylor wanted a beer because she was really stressed and, she didn't think anything of it. She wanted a beer. I think she also bought a pack of cigarettes. So that's all on the surveillance. Now, she has horses out on this farm, her own horses, but Ashley was wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. So I don't know that she was going to go horseback riding in that kind of gear. But I could be wrong. I'm not a horse person. Maybe they were going to ride horses. She did say that Ashley, while they were on the property, Ashley did get on one of the horses and rode it, whatever. So, I'm watching this video, and then all of a sudden it just stops. After the cell phone records are reviewed, and he points out that, there were all these calls and stuff. So what we learned at that point from the investigator was that at that point she asked for an attorney, so they had to stop questioning her, and then she was placed under arrest. Very interesting. So what else happened? So they brought in some other witnesses, to get that video in from the Tom Thumb. They brought in a crime scene like anthropologist. So the rest of the witnesses were centered around this search. So while they were conducting this interview that we had just watched, the jury and I had just watched. They were executing search warrants on Ashley's house and that farm. And what they did was they had several agencies, including the FDLE, that's Florida Department of Law Enforcement, 2 different county sheriffs, and the Fish and Wildlife people were out there. They asked them to bring a boat to search this pond that was on the property. So they all gathered at this church and decided, how they were going to conduct this search. There was also a search and rescue organization that was participating in this. It took them 5 to 6 hours to finally find the body, and the body was finally found by the fish and game officer, he was on the stand. So he found the body of Taylor on the property line on the south end of the property, which was not near any of the, where trimming or, yard work had been done. But when he finds it, he sees that what catches his eye is there's like a skull sticking out of the ground. He sees this skull. So they get over this FDLE anthropologist, crime scene person, and she comes over, and once they uncover the concrete and the potting soil, you see the skeletal remains. They show these pictures. The skeletal remains, and there was somehow a hammock laying there with her body. So I don't know if she was carried from one place to another in this hammock. There was parts of a blue t-shirt, and very telling was Taylor's necklace. Cass, her girlfriend, had testified she always wore this necklace that had a bullet on it, and there was the necklace found. It was the body was found to be identified as Taylor, but here's the interesting part. All these people went on the stand, but evidence was collected, but none of the evidence, or at least not so far, they have not mentioned any DNA. No blood splatter. She found, a female FDLE officer, she found a raincoat in the barn that she did luminol on, and there was blood on it, but she sent it to the lab for testing. So I don't know what happened with that. I guess we'll find out through a different witness. But I haven't heard any DNA evidence to put Ashley to match Ashley with that body. So I'm curious to see if we're going to hear any of that. There was a projectile found within the skull of Taylor Wright, indicating she was shot in the head. And that's where we're leaving off for today. So this is the end of day 3 now. So we have day 4, and then on day 5 they do closing arguments. So this trial is getting ready to wind down. It's really becoming very, very interesting. So the other thing I wanted to tell you, the first trial that I covered was the Prokopovich trial. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was the gentleman who, after almost 40 years, was convicted of, no, not 40 years, 8 years. That was a different trial. After 8 years, was found guilty of murdering his wife, who disappeared, completely disappeared. They never found a body. This was a no-body case. So they found him guilty without a body. They ruled out every possibility of what could have happened to this woman, and so the jury concluded that he must have murdered her. And this one had those interesting spins where he had the girlfriend and she committed suicide, and so it had all these interesting elements to it. But long story short, Friday at 1:30 he is being sentenced, and I think what I'm going to do is just record it, unless you guys want me to go live for that hearing. I'm curious to see if he says anything, if he makes a statement, which he may not, because he's got appeals and stuff like that. I don't know. I suspect he's going to get life without the possibility of parole. I don't know if they have the death penalty. I suspect not, or they would have put that to the jury. So we're going to hear, so I'm going to listen to the as it gets closer to Friday, I'll make sure that hearing is still on. Like I said, it was scheduled for Friday at 1:30. But I'll keep you posted on that. If you're interested in seeing it live, let me know. And I'll consider covering it live. Or if you think I should just record it, and let me know your thoughts. Okay, let's do this day in history. I gotta go to work. Yeah. Pencil factory was yesterday. Oh, here we go. This was really interesting. So on this day in history, in 1986, HBO was broadcasting this movie, The Falcon and the Snowman, and all of a sudden this movie gets interrupted by this screenshot here. I'll show you the screenshot, and it says, "Good evening, HBO, from Captain Midnight, $12.95 a month, ? No way. Showtime movie channel, beware." So, and this was on the screen for 4.5 minutes. Like, this guy that did this just hijacked HBO. Can you believe it? His name was John McDougal, which was his pseudonym. His pseudonym was Captain Midnight. He operated a TV satellite dish store, and his business severely dropped off because prior to HBO scrambling their signal, he could sell these satellite dishes and people could get HBO for free. So now that the signal was scrambled, his business was it was tanking. So, but following that, he got caught because he was overheard bragging about it. He was on a payphone talking to somebody, and they heard him. So he pled guilty. He received a $5,000 fine, unsupervised probation, whatever that means. Like, I guess that means you don't have to report anywhere. And they pulled his amateur radio license for 1 year. And then Congress passed the Electronic Communications Privacy Act of 1986, which made it a felony to hijack satellite feeds. So do not try this at home, children. I was watching that movie. What was I doing in 1986? I had a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. I think I was busy. And I was working as a nurse. My husband was a cop. I'm trying to think where we lived. In Hollywood, Florida. Yeah, I was just busy with my family. I don't even know if we had HBO back then. I have no idea. Isn't that funny? Oh, well. All right, guys, that is the show for today. Have a great Tuesday. Don't forget, leave me a comment. I love to read your comments. If you are spit it out, Rebecca. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Ring the bell when you want to know when I have another video posted. Every now and then I throw in a random video on top of the podcast that I do daily. And give me a thumbs up if you liked the content. I have also created playlists on the channel so you can catch up with all the trials that you may have missed, or even this trial, some testimony from earlier on. So it's all in the playlist. So guys, have a great day. My elbow's in the painting. I'll see you all later.